All right, and welcome to the Banter podcast. I am Corey, the moderator for today, and who else would be with me but Brennan and Kyle? What's up, guys?
What's up, Corey?
How are you doing, man?
I'm doing okay. Kyle, how are you doing?
That's good. That's good.
I'm doing all right. I mean, I could be a whole lot better. After
Yeah,
all the
you're
technical
looking a
issues
little
we
grainy,
faced.
sir.
And
But I think that's just
not
on our
for
end.
Not for the audience.
But you know what? It is just on our end, and it will be good
Yep.
when you guys see it on YouTube.
Exactly.
And in videos.
I mean, before we start bantering on some ball, Brennan, you had a good week in sports. You had the Bills, and you had this Pacers trade.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, dude. Let's start with the Bills. You know, big dub against the Steelers. We'll hopefully keep that momentum going against Kansas City at home this time. We're not playing in Arrowhead. We get them at
I'm
the
actually
Ralph.
very happy about that.
And then the big news: Pascal Siakam, an Indiana Pacer. We made a splash move. We got another guy that can complement Tyrese Halliburton. I'm hyped. I'm excited. And I think this could do wonders for the Indiana Pacers this season.
I am glad you're excited, but let me tell you, our listeners are not excited to hear that. They're excited for our super fun format here, which again we'll have
You'd
Kyle.
be correct on that.
We'll have Kyle and Brennan analyzing here. So just to break it down, so we go here. Goal: they're going to work together. They're going to come in with different ideas, different opinions on a lot of these questions, but they're going to work together to reach 10 compromises, whether that be on the initial question that was asked or like a similar agreement. They're going to try to get 10 points. The way they do that is if they disagree to start, they have 35 seconds each to explain their view, then a minute 30 to agree, or they just have 1 minute to discuss their already agreed upon view. If they don't do that in 25 minutes, if they don't reach 10 points in 25 minutes, then 2-minute speed round, which is going to be a special speed round today. So that's how it works. You guys ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm ready.
I'm ready to go.
More than ready here.
All right. Then your 25 minutes, as well as our first question, starts whenever I pull up my timer.
Bro didn't have the timer ready.
Well, no, I had
was
it
the
ready,
issue.
but they weren't reset. Starts now. Okay, your first question. We're gonna start in the NFL. 6 teams just got eliminated here. Which of these NFL playoff teams do you think won't be back here for the foreseeable future? Please name all that apply.
I only had 2. Oh shoot! Hang on, I gotta move this
Oh
over.
man! Oh man!
Cool. No, we're good.
Okay, they agree.
Ooh,
They agree
okay.
on one. They agree on the Eagles, and then there is a different one that they disagree on.
So what is it? Is that like half? Is that like
Yeah,
half?
well, I
think
mean,
I
I
have
would
one.
assume you want to focus on the one that you want, that you need to start agreeing on. So, Brennan, I'll give you 35 seconds to plead your case. Let's go.
All right. So I said the Eagles, and I also said the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right. Now look, they're going to go 9-8 again, and maybe next year they'll miss the playoffs. I just think they're too mid of a team to be consistently in the playoffs year after year, and I don't see them going in there. Tomlin's got to go. They need a quarterback. Reports came out today that they're sticking with Kenny Pickett. Mike Tomlin's not going anywhere. The core's mostly locked up, which is great, and they have the potential to be good if they make the right moves this offseason. But you also got to keep in mind the Bengals are getting Joe Burrow back next year.
All right.
And that's a 4th place team in the
And
division.
Kyle.
Already. So I also said the Eagles. We can talk about that later. But I said the Cleveland Browns. Now, I think personally they caught lightning in the bottle with the Joe Flacco situation. The last month of the season, they played the Jaguars, who ended up not playing very well. The Texans without C.J. Stroud, which we know what happened there, and the Jets and the Bears. So all not great teams that they won to get into the playoffs at that point. I trust Kevin Stefanski a lot. Certainly, I think he's definitely up there for Coach of the Year. But I think the main issue is the quarterback situation. Do you want to pay Deshaun? It's going to be like 45, 46 million next year. That's a big decision to make.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big decision to make. I don't know.
Well, minute 30. Browns, Steelers, what do we got?
So I was thinking the Browns, but they still have an elite defense and they're still retaining a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
And as long as Deshaun Watson can be just an average quarterback, you still have Nick Chubb's coming back this year. They made the playoffs with all these injuries.
They did.
I think they can be contenders as long as Deshaun is just like an average quarterback.
But again, we don't know. The few games that he's played.
No, you don't know.
He's not
but I
played
trust
very
the
well.
Cleveland. I trust the Cleveland Browns more than I trust the
I
Pittsburgh
think
Steelers.
initially
to make
I
the
did
playoffs.
think the Steelers, but I think I'm a little impartial to that. But I think a lot of why I didn't choose the Steelers is what you said for your answer was they're always going to be good. We always try to count them out every year. But somehow Mike Tomlin wins 9, 10 games every year, somehow, some way. I can't say the same.
You're exactly right about
because
that.
I think the last year when they were healthy, for the most part, they didn't. I think they won what 7 games, 6 games. So
yeah, but their defense wasn't as good, and they made some good free agency signings. I think the Browns right now are a better team than the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think they'll be a better team next year. So I can see them reaching the playoffs.
So any agreements we can reach on these teams?
We can. Well, I can agree with Kyle that Kyle agrees with me that the Steelers are going to finish 9-8. Come on, you got it. You can admit the Browns are better than the Steelers right now, bro. Come on.
I honestly, if put them in neutral site right now, I would probably take the Steelers.
All right, then that is not an agreement.
Sorry.
We are sitting with 0 points, and that is...
Before we move on, well, we got a half. We have half a point.
No,
half a point.
No,
give us the
no.
half.
We have a half. Absolutely,
a point.
I'm the mod. I'm the mod this week. No, you don't get a point. All right, now
we're asking for half.
And I'm not giving you half. All right, now moving on.
Would matter, but
now moving on. That was last week's news in the NFL. Let's move on to the next one. What quarterback is throwing for the most passing yards in the divisional round? We got a prediction question here. Exciting stuff.
I had a cool answer for this.
I do too.
I had
do you have the same answer?
Okay.
Yes,
1
sir.
minute
All right.
agreement. It's a shocking agreement.
All right.
But 1 minute. Let's hear it.
All right.
I'll start here. Mm-hmm. So he threw for 337, 3 touchdowns. That's 4.
Who
3
is
touchdowns against the Eagles. Baker Mayfield. Sorry.
Baker Mayfield.
We'll go to Baker Mayfield. Against the Eagles, he threw 3 touchdowns, 337. And none of his receivers surpassed 90 yards passing. Spreading the ball out well, and that's really what Baker Mayfield can do. He's not a big flashy play guy as much as he would like to be. He's just effectively getting the ball where it needs to go. Run game's been pretty okay, but the Lions gave up a lot to Stafford last week, so I wouldn't see why they wouldn't give up. I'm not saying the Bucs win. I think the Lions still probably win, but I think the Lions are probably going to give up a lot to Tampa.
Yep. He still threw 337 yards with a lot of his receivers dropping the balls too. He's playing inside with no weather conditions. I know all the other games are probably going to have some sort of weather condition outside of San Francisco. But the Lions' defense isn't great this year. You got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. If they can fix their drops, Baker Mayfield's easily, I think, going to have the most passing yards. Maybe Jared Goff, but I'm going.
That was my second option too. Yeah.
Well, that one was not as fun as I wanted it to be, but hey, we got an agreement. That means you guys got 1 point. So let's move in to the NBA sphere. Before we start talking about the trades that we want to talk about, we also saw a lot of high-profile guards out with injury here and there this week. Luka, Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton, and John Morant were all out. Obviously, John Morant is going to be out for a long period. But based on what you saw without them, rank the impact of these players on their teams here.
I did it by team, but
whatever way.
I'm listing them by like this.
Okay.
Okay. So we agree on. Okay. So we have.
They agree that the biggest impact is John Morant on the Grizzlies. All right. Now 35 seconds, Brennan. Tackle this whatever way you want to tackle it.
All right, so I'm just going to go right down the list here. I put the Grizzlies as the team most impacted by their injury, which is John Morant. Look, they're 9-22 without him, and in any game that John Morant hasn't played, they haven't scored more than 120 points without him in the lineup. Second, I put the Pacers. So far this season, they're 3-4 without Tyrese. Maybe this is probably going to change because I did this before they got Pascal Siakam. So now I'm a little bit more confident in them that they can do this. The Knicks, I had 3, same with Kyle. They're 1-1 without Brunson. Need to see more of how they play without him, honestly. And I said the Mavericks are the least affected, 3-4 without Luka. Obviously, you still have Kyrie. You still have a lot of other good pieces around there. But maybe I'd switch around the list knowing that Pascal Siakam's a Pacer.
Okay, Kyle.
So I did mine after the Siakam trade, which is why I had the Pacers as the least. But I also have the Grizzlies. They had like the worst record before the Ja got unsuspended. I think they won 6 games before that, and then they actually ended up playing well in that era of him being not unsuspended but not hurt. But now he's hurt against them, like losing a lot of games. Then I said Mavs because I trust Kyrie definitely as he could. I think he could still be a quality like first option on a team. if Luka is out. The Knicks and the Pacers are kind of on the same level where I think they've traded enough, they've built the team enough that I don't think it's awful if Brunson or Halliburton are out. They'll lose games that they probably should win, but they're still going to be pretty consistent.
Okay. Well, it seems like you guys might be able to make a quick agreement here.
Sure.
Try to lock in that order, though.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like we said the same things. So Grizzlies at 1,
Totally.
obviously. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to move? Do you want to compromise here? I'm totally fine after the Siakam trade putting the Pacers where you have them at 4.
Yeah.
And then if you want to move up the Knicks to 2, I guess, and put the Mavs at 3, switch
I'm
around.
fine. Initially I had the Knicks and the Mavs kind of like a tied, second
like,
place because I was like
they're like tied for like 2 different reasons. Like
Yeah.
I think the Mavs still can do enough, but I just haven't seen the Knicks in enough games without Jalen Brunson to really rank them anywhere outside of like the 2 or 3.
That's
spots.
fair.
Okay.
No.
So we're saying
yeah.
Grizzlies,
Yeah.
Knicks, Mavericks, and then the Indiana Pacers.
I'm interchangeable between Knicks.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
That's an
I
agreement.
am too,
Before we move
yeah.
on there, I do want to say, obviously, Kyrie Irving and Tim Hardaway Jr. both dropped 40 points without
Exactly, yeah.
Luka being there.
That's right, yeah.
Then Jalen Brunson's impact was definitely known. People were upset over those couple of Knicks games without him there. So that's 2 points. That's 2 agreements for you guys. Let's move into the MLB sphere. We got an exciting thing happening on Tuesday. Is the Baseball Hall of Fame
Hall of
election.
Fame.
Those results are announced Tuesday. What do you think is the biggest criteria for being a first ballot Hall of Famer? Because we do have, I believe, 12 first ballot people on that voting.
I have a long answer, but it's mostly all kind of the same. Yeah. Okay.
I think we said the same.
All right,
kinda said
1
the same
minute.
thing.
Just talk it out.
All right, so we basically had the same answer, which was ability and longevity. I'm just using mine because Kyle's is really long. If you're good, if you're like really, really good, and you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, but you got to do it for a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's the big key. You can't just have like 2 or 3 really great seasons, then like get hurt or do something, and then you're not in the Hall of Fame.
Plus,
I said with Kyle's. I agree with Kyle. He also had multiple individual awards. I also agree
because
with
I don't
that.
think at the end all be all. Like obviously a World Series is nice, but if you've had players in the past like
That's what I said, and I said with World Series, if you won it, it should be considered. But if you didn't win it, then like you shouldn't be penalized for not winning it.
Yeah.
Because we've seen like Mike Trout was arguably the greatest baseball player of all time, but he's never won a World Series. Is that his fault?
Ohtani,
No.
not yet.
Oh, same with Ohtani. I was going to say that. So yeah, if you win multiple awards, like individual awards in your career, you do it for a long period of time, and you're consistently one of the best players in the game, I think you should get into the Hall of Fame.
All right. And with 3 points, let's jump right off of that. Next question. Of the 14 first ballot Hall of Famers we've seen in the last decade, who, if anyone, was undeserving of that title?
I'll let Brennan answer first here. See if I'm right. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said the same thing, Kyle.
Yeah.
1 minute.
That's why they're first ballot. So we said nobody, and that's why they're first ballot. I took a couple of quick notes here. From Frank Thomas all the way to Big Papi, these guys contributed so much to the game. From the early 90s to 2000s, these guys were the face of the MLB. They're all deserving for their own individual reasons. I mean, David Ortiz, he really was the leading the way and revolutionized the DH role in the game. You got Frank Thomas, massive power hitter. Derek Jeter, Ken Griffey Jr., Chipper Jones, Jim Thome, and then on the pitching side, Mariano Rivera, arguably the best closer of all time. Greg Maddux, John Smoltz, Pedro Martinez.
Those are all like inarguable.
All dominant players.
All inarguable. You can't even be like, they can wait a year or like, absolutely.
They are first ballot. Absolutely first ballot.
For me, for any sport of the Hall of Fame, it's can you tell the story of the league without them? And I think everyone you just mentioned, you can't not mention. If you want to tell the story of baseball as a whole, you have to mention all of those men.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And then that means you guys have 4 points now. So let's move back to the NBA and talk about one of the biggest headlines, probably the biggest headline of the week. It's that Siakam trade. Toronto got 3 first-round picks, but 2 of them were for 2024, so they know where those are going to fall, which is lower. Should they value quality or quantity when trading for picks? if you are an organization.
I agree.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's 5. Let's hear it.
Okay, so do you want to take this one first? Scott?
Sure. Yeah. I've just kind of looked at the history of since the it doesn't really matter at this point for me personally because the NBA draft's only 2 whole rounds. That's what 60 players. There's gonna be diamonds in the rough. We've seen that with like Nikola Jokic and everyone like that. And there's gonna be players that have been drafted highly that don't work out at all. I'm thinking James Wiseman. I'm thinking like DeAndre Ayton. Respected, he's a decent player, but over Luka or Trey in 2018. What else did I say here? Yeah, like there's I can't think of a league that's more centric around the idea of like anyone from any place can play well.
Yeah. No, that's what I said. And I mean, at the end of the day, the draft is a lottery, right?
That too.
You could be like a generational talent and then bust or get
like that.
Injured your first game, bust like that, or you could be like the last pick of the draft. I mean, I'm just going to the NFL here. Look at Brock Purdy, what he's doing out in San Francisco, Mr. Irrelevant.
Well, that's a little different. That's
never know.
A little different because it's the NFL, but I understand.
I mean, kind of, but like it's the same premise, right? You don't know what you're getting with these players, and I think the more draft picks you have, the higher the chance.
I said out of the exclusion for like home run hits, like I go Victor Wembanyama. I understand Corey, but that's what it says. Aside from home run picks like Victor Wembanyama, I think you just kind of have to. It's like an arms race of draft picks. It doesn't really matter what you have; you just got to have a lot of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, for sure.
So you guys must like that Toronto haul then, the three draft picks for that.
Like that's
I thought it was a steal for Indianapolis.
Well, I think you both win if
more,
I think both teams win if you're looking at it the way that you said. Okay.
I guess.
So, all right, cool. Then with Siakam off the board, what player in trade rumors do you think shakes up the NBA title race the most right now?
Okay. Here we go. I got this. Ooh, all right. We have different answers.
Okay.
I assume I know who Brennan's is going to be if it's not. Okay. All right. I want to hear Kyle first.
Alrighty. So I said Zach LaVine. He's a 2 or a 3 on the Bulls right now. I think for me that this situation is very similar to the Siakam thing, where the Raptors are in like a weird like 7 to 8 to 9 range, where they're not going to do anything. They're probably going to drop out at this point of the play-in even. I don't think they're going to win much of anything this year. They could do a Miami Heat, but like I don't know. I think a few teams that could look to add him. I said maybe the Lakers, but I don't know. That could just be a hot pie in the sky sort of situation. I said the Sixers maybe, but with Tyrese Maxey kind of getting into his own. I thought that was okay. I thought the Kings would be a great spot for him because their 2 guard is not scoring too well, and I think LaVine is scoring 20 a night. So I think that would be a good addition to
all right,
Sacramento.
Then Brennan, why do you disagree here?
All right, so I said DeJounte Murray of the Atlanta Hawks. I think you said like the biggest shakeup would change the title race the most. And I think if a team, like a competitor, like I think Kyle mentioned both these teams, the Lakers, the Knicks, they're both interested in him. I think he could do wonders for both of those teams. If he gets added to the Lakers, he adds another top scoring option, will bolster the rebounding game, adds a playmaker. His defense is also going to be greatly appreciated in Los Angeles. And he honestly just make the Lakers a more dynamic team. With the Knicks, he'd add another ball handler who runs the offense while Jalen Brunson is on the bench. Because I know that we said when he's out, the Knicks it could be a different team. But even when he's sitting on the bench, the Knicks are a different team.
Here.
I already started you guys' discussion time, so go.
Okay. So I said Lakers, but like I think if I'm LA, I kind of want a true kind of guard than more of a guy that can go anywhere, because I think that's where they really struggle right now. You know, you have Austin Reeves has been benched at some point in the year. I know they've had people that've been benched. They've had people in a long-term injury with I believe Gabe Vincent, but like they just I think Zach LaVine is a guy you can plug into a lot of places and he'll perform well. And
I'm sure. And I think DeJounte Murray does the same thing. Honestly, at the end of the day, you can't go wrong with either of these
Exactly,
players.
So what kind of things should these championship contenders be looking for whenever they're making their trades then?
Just another playmaker, someone who handles the ball well, especially with the Lakers. I know Zach LaVine, DeJounte Murray.
And if you're looking in
playmaking,
playmaking, does that push you toward either of those players?
It would probably actually.
I think
it would push me toward Murray. I think a little bit more.
It would, yeah. But I don't think you can go wrong with either of these players. Honestly, LaVine was probably my second option. If it wasn't for Murray.
Okay, so do we have?
You want to agree that they should be looking at playmakers?
Sure. Yeah.
Think kind yeah. All right.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I'll count that.
Yes,
That's
sir.
seven question mark? 6, 7?
Yeah, 6.
Six. That's
or
6.
seven.
Whoever.
All right. Okay. Then let's move to the NHL. All right.
Ooh.
It's another league that it's almost trade season there in the NHL. So who needs to make a move right now in the NHL?
Oh.
We can't let the NBA have all the fun.
Ooh, okay. We got two different answers.
Okay.
Brennan, let's hear you first.
All right, so I said the New York Islanders need to make a trade right now. Currently, they're 19, 15, and 10. They're only 1 point out of a playoff spot. They have one of the best defensive cores in the league, and Sorokin is a beast in the goalie. But they need more scoring options, all right? Like, the offense is playing so bad right now. All 4 of their right wingers right now have a plus-minus of below 0. The left wings, they all have a plus-minus of below 2. And every center outside of Bo Horvat is averaging a -8 plus-minus. All right, it's just been an awful offensive team for the Islanders. They need to go out and they need to get another offensive player.
And Kyle, you're targeting a different position.
So I totally agree with you, Brennan. But I said I just want, to be fair, I just want John Gibson out of Anaheim. As a Pittsburgh boy, he's from Pittsburgh. I love him a lot. He's still, I think he's about 29 or 30. He's still, I think, in the right place. Can play very elite hockey. I chose 2 teams that are kind of in the they're in the bubble of the playoffs. I said the Hurricanes or the Red Wings, but neither really have a fantastic goalie. You know, we had the Red Wings with James Reimer, who's 35, and they really honestly mostly split most of their games among a lot of goaltenders. Same with the Hurricanes. They don't have a guy you really want to trust for a very long time. They're either too young or too old. So, but I totally agree with you. I just, personally, as a John Gibson stan, I want to see him out of Anaheim ASAP.
Discuss.
Okay, so you want him on the Penguins, I assume, then?
I don't think the Penguins need him. That's why I didn't say them. I would
Okay.
be a fan of him on the Penguins, obviously, but
Right.
I just think he's been stuck on that team for so long, and they've done absolutely nothing since 2017.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I can get behind that. The reason I said the Islanders over a team like the Hurricanes or the
Red Wings,
whatever you said, the Red Wings, is because the Islanders are currently out of a playoff spot. They need to make that playoff push. The Red Wings and the Hurricanes are currently both locked into a playoff spot. They're not even in wild card. They're top 3 in their conference. So I think that's why the Islanders need to make more of a move. But we can compromise here. You think the Islanders need to make more of a move?
Totally.
And I can agree with you that John Gibson needs to get out of Anaheim, save his career.
Because the Islanders have so much talent, like you said. You know, they have a great goaltender. They have a great everything else, but their wings are just not that great.
They're not.
And it's very strange because only a year or 2 ago they've been competing for Stanley Cups and
yeah, they have. Imagine if they get a legitimate scoring option outside of Bo Horvat.
Yeah.
Imagine what that'd do for that team.
All right.
Do
so
wonders.
you guys are excited
Especially
about the
in a tough-
Islanders, and you're excited about John Gibson. Good to hear.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Especially
That's
in a very
7 agreements.
tough division, by the way.
That's 7 agreements. This is going to be your second to last question. I'll give you one more after this, just to be nice. Okay, so let's hop back to the NFL. The Detroit Lions just won a playoff game for the first time since 1991. If you had to put a timeline for when, if the Lions would win their first Super Bowl, what is that timeline for you? What's that window that they got locked in? Okay,
It's like
that's the same. So
Yeah, that is the same.
Yeah. All right. So we said basically between the years 2025 and 2030. My reasoning behind it was they have a great offense right now. They have a really great start to this being a contender in the NFL. They need to shore up the defense a little bit more. Get more pieces up there. They do that. I think they're primed to be competing for NFC championships for years to come. I mean, the division and even the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and you think about it like this: Goff right now in the NFC is the most experienced quarterback still in the playoffs. You have Baker Mayfield, who played well, Jordan Love, who I loved in that Cowboys game, and who else am I thinking of? Why can I not think of who's the other NFC team?
Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy, which I talk every day, all day about Brock Purdy, but I don't know, man. I think there's a real decent shot. I said yes in the next 3 to 6 years. I think there's a decent shot that they win it this year, which is crazy after they've won their first playoff game after 30 years.
Yeah,
but
I could get behind that. I think they got really lucky with the Buccaneers beating the Eagles, so now they get to host them, and they make the NFC Championship this year. It could be.
I don't see why they don't stay competitive. Everyone else in the playoffs right now.
So we have high hopes for the Detroit Lions here. That's 8 points for you guys. Yeah. And here comes your last question of the day. If you agree here, then you can just go in one agreement on the speed round and you'll be good. Do you guys want Amazon or do you want the Cavs?
I want Amazon.
You want Amazon?
Okay. All right. This is a general sports
question.
The Cavs one was
good, though.
I like the Cavs one. This is a general sports question. Amazon is acquiring Diamond Sports and will be providing Bally Sports Network games locally through Amazon Prime. What do you see as the biggest impact on of the sports industry's move to streaming platforms?
This is what I said. Oh, okay.
Okay. Kyle, let's hear yours first because yours is a little more neutral.
I think it's a neutral stance, but personally, I'm kind of not a fan of it. I think streaming services as a whole are a good thing, but I don't think that they should be the only place where you can watch certain things, especially sports, or especially just live events in general. I know the NHL tried a little bit of this last year with ESPN Plus. I remember I tried to watch a Penguins game and I couldn't put it on the TV. I had to figure out how to watch it. I know the NFL did it this year with that playoff game, which I thought was a disaster. And there were some other Saturday games earlier in the year that they did that with. I think the idea of exclusive live event or exclusive sporting events is a little strange to me because however long in its we've had I can just turn on the cable and I can turn on the Steelers game or the Broncos game or the Bills game or whatever. Unless, at the very least, if you are local, you should be able to watch your own show.
Sure. But there is another aspect of that has always been around with cable. And Brennan, how does that change?
Yeah, so I said hopefully no more blackout restrictions, all right? It seems like cable has had its run. It's over. Many people are switching away from cable and going to streaming services. So I think this is a great move for those people. But with that, it comes with getting rid of blackout restrictions, I mean, sorry to the people who still have it, but you just got to switch now. And I mean, I understand if they don't want to show every game, but you should at least be able to watch your hometown team on a streaming platform.
All right.
Maybe they'll switch that up.
And can we reach an agreement on there?
So we're both kind of arguing different things here. I agree 100%. No, we're both arguing.
No, that's some weird mic quality right there.
Oh, hello.
Dude, I don't know what happened. That's actually wild.
I'll let you talk then.
Okay, so I agree with Kyle. Shouldn't be the only way to watch it, but if you get rid of the blackout restrictions, then I think it's fine. I hate the blackout restrictions so much because then you go and you try to stream or watch the games illegally, and then it just downloads stuff that you don't want, like viruses and stuff. You just need to get rid of it. All right, please just do that. And if any of you are wondering how I watch my games, it's like a legal. It's definitely or how I don't watch my games because this thing is like a legal gray area. It's called a super box, which I highly recommend you don't get. But I'm just saying if you were to get it, hypothetically, It gives you every single game for free.
Well, Brennan, that's going against your
MLB.
case here. Kyle, if we got a super box, do you think that we still shouldn't have streaming then?
Kyle, agree with the Super Box. I'll explain more. It'll change your life. Think about it. Name a TV show right now. Name a TV show. Any TV show you want. It could be on Apple, Netflix, cable, Amazon, whatever.
Breaking Bad.
You can watch Breaking Bad.
Okay, so do we agree that you don't need streaming if you have a super box?
If you're streaming illegally, yeah.
All right. Interesting agreement that we have reached here. Oh, man. Okay.
That's why you should not illegally stream your sports games.
That you should not.
Definitely. You should not do that.
All right.
All right, do not get a super box and get every single show and live sporting
You guys
event
have
for free.
9 points because I gave you some really softball questions this week. We gotta fix that up here. But you have 2 minutes for your speed round, and your speed round instructions are going to be: I'm going to ask you your NBA All-Star ballot. The voting is still going on here, and I'm going to go position by position for the 2 minutes. See how many we get through, and you guys just say your answer for each immediately. Okay? Sound good? All right, we will start that now. Eastern Conference guards.
Guards, give me Tyrese Halliburton.
Yep.
Give me Trae Young, and give me Donovan Mitchell.
You get 2 guards.
I said.
I get 2 guards. Tyrese and
I was gonna say.
Tyrese and Spider.
I had Tyrese and I had Donovan.
Okay, so you guys are good. That's 10 points.
Well, let's continue. No.
All right, you can keep talking
We
if
can
you want.
continue. We already
You can
reached
talk
it.
if you want.
All right.
Yeah. Well, you gonna introduce
Forwards.
Okay, yeah,
Eastern Conference forwards.
Eastern
I
Conference
said
forwards.
Giannis, Embiid, and Tatum.
I said the same thing.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
agree.
not much deviation here. Western Conference.
No, but the thing is, those 3 absolutely deserve it. Those are the top 3 best front court
Yeah,
guys.
those are the.
No, yeah.
Those are arguably
I agree.
3 of the best.
A lot of the
players in
starters are going to be hard to deviate from, but the reserves are where it always
All
gets
right.
fun. What about the Western Conference
We go to-
forwards?
Western Conference forward.
I'll let
Or front
Brennan
court,
go.
rather.
The front court.
I did this one.
Jokic, and KD. I don't want.
You guys
LeBron's
get
gonna
3
get it.
front court players, Brennan.
Let's just go both. LeBron.
Those are
Jokic,
3 I
KD,
had
and
too.
LeBron.
So I had LeBron, I had Jokic, I had Durant, and I had
Really,
Kawhi
Durant?
as nearly there, but I'm not gonna put
Durant.
I don't want to see LeBron.
I
but he's gonna
don't
get
know.
it, so.
I don't know if I want both Durant and
What, do you want
LeBron
Sengun?
starters. Well, I want Sengun on the All-Star team for sure, but not as a starter. I mean, that's not what I'm saying. But I mean, you're probably going to have both Durant and LeBron on the starters because it's mostly fan voting based. So it'll be good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys avoided punishment. Reminder that we did all get punished on the Christmas episode. So we're going to ask on the Spotify poll, and then you can also answer in the YouTube comments here what you want that punishment to be during our season finale. We're going to do all of the punishments, or at least as long as there's not a lot of them, at that season finale there. So get your answers in for what you want to see for that. Anything you guys want to say before we sign off?
the guards. I had Luka and SGA for my guards for the West, but no,
I did too.
Okay, no,
I
okay.
exactly
That's the last thing I wanted
yeah,
to say.
Otherwise, go follow us on all social media platforms: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We're on Spotify
And Apple Podcasts.
Podcasts.
All
Apple
of those.
Podcasts. All of them. Go follow us there. We're gonna be amping up the content a little bit. I think we're gonna get Corey over here editing some videos for us, so that's gonna be huge. Make sure we'll send out a link to Corey's first video that he uploads
why?
and edits.
Just watch all the videos.
Why not?
All the videos are going to be the same.
Watch them all, but make sure
there's
go
no
show
quality
Corey some love,
difference between me and you, Brennan. We're going to be the exact same level.
We will be, but you got to make it known that you edited his first. It's a
They
big
will know.
accomplishment. man.
They will
It's a big
know. I
accomplishment.
promise it's not going to be very good.
Hey, you said
All right.
there's no quality
Okay,
difference.
well, that's the show for today. And next week we're going to have me and Kyle going? Question mark.
Yes,
And
yeah,
Brennan Monning.
yeah, that's
All
correct.
right, and that's going to be.
it's going to be only hockey questions.
I'm ready.
That's
I'll
right.
do some research on some hockey.
Which player had the biggest impact in the World Juniors?
Yeah.
That's a terrible question that nobody
Awful
wants to answer.
question.
All right,
Yep.
this has been the Banter Ball
All right,
Podcast, week 9, and we will see you for our 10th episode next week. Bye-bye.